Hi everybody, for this week's SEL tip of the week, I'm going to be focusing on how to facilitate community circles online. So there are a couple things that we still want to maintain as usual for when we have our community circles. We still want to have our norms, our rules, agreements, expectations, however you would like to call them in your space, but we still want to have those and to have those reviewed every time that you enter into that circle space online for every grade level. You want to have a routine in place for how students participate to share their thoughts in an equitable way. You want to make sure that you also have that opening and closing statement for how your circle starts and ends. You can choose to still have a centerpiece. We normally had the centerpiece as an equity tool so that if students felt a little bit uncomfortable looking at each other in the circle, that they had something to focus on, especially with being online when everybody is looking at everybody the whole time. This can be something you might want to do in a unique way. You might want to, in your background, still use your centerpiece that you want for your learners and just have it in the background of your screen. You might do a share screen with something that they can look at for that as well. And you can also think of any other alternatives or not do one at all because students have the option of turning their camera on or off for this. So choose what you think is best for your learners. And then also, you want to make sure that you have a quality question, whether it is a relationship building question or it's a connected SEL question to whatever it is that you're teaching for the week. So I wanted to share a couple things with you in regards for creating a space with your norms or agreements or rules for specifically the circle. These are two examples. So one, you'll see that there are the question, the different types of questions that might be asked. So on the left side, you'll notice a primary example of what their name is, their school, their grade, and one fun fact. And then the rules or expectations for the circle would be to listen and speak respectfully. One person speaks at a time. We're kind, and that they can pass. So you'll see just visuals for that primary example. And then for upper level examples, you'll want to, again, create this together. And so we have speak and listen with an open heart. One person speaks at a time, respect the circle space, and that they can pass as well with the circle question visually shown as well. You don't have to have the circle question visually shown, but it might be helpful, especially students might be feeling a little bit more pressure being online. So in regards to student voice, we want to be advocating for everybody to share as much as they feel comfortable sharing and how they feel comfortable sharing. So these are just some examples. There are many, many more, but you might want to offer some time before opening up the circle space to have students reflect in their journal. I did this over summer school and it was such a wonderful tool, and basically all of my students were sharing. So I set a timer consistently so they know that there's a start and stop with the reflection. Then they already had some thoughts in their mind, and as they were ready, they would share their thoughts. And I had them use the raise the hand feature or an emoji feature, which worked for me. But maybe you want to try other strategies. So maybe students actually physically raise their hand on camera. Maybe they just use the chat box or microphone only. There are different tools like a number generator I linked here, which is just off of Google actually, where you can assign different numbers and students can be called on that way. It's more random though, but remember students can pass if they don't feel comfortable sharing. There's also a wheel of names, which is linked on there that you can use as well. Maybe you do a different type of class list order or an alpha order, or how they're appearing on your screen, or even a new slide each day. You can create a slide of different orders and you can have students respond that way. A really neat idea that was just shared today from one of our instructional coaches was having Jamboard and Google Slide where you can create this virtual circle space. I linked the YouTube video there that they had found and also a link to Jamboard. If you prefer to do the circle in not an in-person kind of way online, would be like maybe you use a your Google Classroom or Seesaw and post a question there, and they can do that more of a discussion board. You can use Padlet, Slido, SLI.do. That also allows you to create like a word cloud that's interactive. So the more that students check in with like a one-word answer, that's a great alternative. Or you can create like a Pear Deck and have it interactive that they can type there. If you have other ideas, please share them in the district remote instruction sharing folder. There's one in there called SEL Shared, so feel free to share your ideas as well. Now, I did create a couple of tools that you are more than welcome to make a copy of and add it for your community. So this one is more of an elementary base, but again, junior high, you can always change it from a carpet to something else. But you can have students add their pictures and do that as a relationship building activity as selfies, create a master plan of where their selfies can be housed, and they can click and drag their selfies to the spots on their carpet space, so they can choose where they'd like to sit each day if you'd like, or even make it assigned seats. It doesn't really matter, just different alternatives. There are these options at the side, so if students needed to use the washroom, get a drink, or if there was something happening at home, they can move their picture so you know where they are if they had their cameras off, for example. An alternative to this, if you wanted to go more less visual way, but in an alternative way, you can make a copy of this slide. You can have your question to the left or wherever, and then you can put different orders of your students here for each day. So I hope this was helpful for as you begin to create your circle space. Feel free to reach out if you'd like support in any way, or ideas, or a thought partner. I'd be happy to connect with you. So good luck this week, and talk to you soon.